the only way I do that is pushing myself to the limit.
Why do you prefer that fight over like a Bivol then?
There's no, you guys, I'm going to correct you guys where you guys keep saying that I don't get these fights, I don't get that fight. I don't get none of these fights because these guys don't want to fight me. If I would have had those fights available, I would have took that fight. The fight with Bivol, I was trying to fight Bivol for this fight. He didn't want to take.
David Benz has officially reached his breaking point. After years of being avoided by Canelo Alvarez, he's now targeting Dmitry Bivol with a brutal new nickname, the Russian Canelo, and he isn't holding back, citing rejected contracts and even a leaked secret gym knockout. This has escalated from a rivalry into full-on exposure, with Benz ready to prove why the champion is dodging him. Money, as always in boxing, tells the story. According to Ben's promoter, Samson Lucic, Bivol turned down a concrete $8 million offer last year to make one of the sport's biggest fights happen, raising questions about whether he truly wants a legacy or is simply avoiding the spotlight.
I was trying to fight Bivol for this fight. He didn't want to take the fight. I was, you know what I mean, with all these guys. That's why, like, I don't like people disrespecting me, saying that, oh, I'm talking all this shit, but I'm not taking the fights with these guys. These guys
wasn't disrespecting.
No. It's I'm talking about other people. You know what I mean? Stuff that I see on the internet. These people, they don't want to take the fight with me. If they wanted to take the fight with me, that's the fight we would have been having. You know what I mean? So, I'm taking every big opportunity I could take. You know what I mean? It's been evident that I've been wanting to get the biggest fights and they haven't been happening. Not on my end, on the other end of the other fighters. So whatever a big opportunity I take, I see.
Things took a suspicious turn when, instead of taking the $8 million and defending his title, Bivol shocked the boxing world by vacating his WBC belt just one day before a scheduled post-bid. A champion known for discipline and legacy suddenly gave up a belt rather than face a mandatory defense against Benz. To Ben's team, it was the ultimate sign of surrender, not about business, but survival. They believed Bivol weighed the risk, so the $8 million, and decided that protecting his conscience was worth more than the money.
Dmitry Bivol has ducked David Benavidez. Look, I understand a lot of you will feel that the trilogy with Arthur Beterbiev, which is a historic trilogy in the making, it holds precedence over a fight against David Benavidez. But, you know, part of the selling point of those fights was that they were for undisputed. That was the main purpose of Bivol and Beterbiev meeting up together in the first place. And now with Bivol vacating the WBC title, which arguably is still the most prestigious out of the 4 titles, I still got fighters like Brian Norman telling me they want to fight Mario Barrios because they want to win the WBC belt the most. And the WBC's done a lot to, you know, wane in influence, but they still are the WBC. So ultimately, Turki Alalshikh shot this fight down. And that's part of why I hesitate to say Bivol ducked Benavidez too, because if the man who's lining your pockets, who's given you by far the most money you've probably ever made in your life, is saying, I don't want you to do this, I want you to do this instead, then I have to understand that as another man.
So why would a skilled technician like Bivol, fresh off a win over Artur Beterbiev, be so hesitant to face Benz? According to rumors circulating in gyms for years and now amplified by Ben's camp, the answer lies in a past training camp where Benz didn't just outwork Bivol, he allegedly destroyed him. In boxing, sparring is supposed to stay private, but when titles and millions are at stake, those unspoken rules can vanish, leaving fear and caution in their place.
What do you remember about that sparring with Dmitry Bivol, David?
I remember that he was a good fighter, man. The last time I sparred him, I hurt him back in the 4th round. But he's a great fighter. I don't take nothing away from him. The last time I sparred him, I was 22 years old. So that was about like 6 years ago. But I remember that, you know, there are some opportunities I could take advantage of in Bivol. But he's a good fighter, you know. Overall, he's a great fighter. I definitely, you know, have to train hard for that training camp and be ready because he comes to fight.
You mentioned, Mayor, how you hurt him in sparring, David. But if you take that out of the equation, what kind of impressed you the most from that time in the ring with Dmitry Bivol? For a lot of people, it's his footwork, it's his judging of distance, he's superb in the ring. What impressed you from working with Dmitry Bivol in sparring?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't go in there and like, oh, I'm really impressed with what he does. You know, he moves around a lot, he keeps his distance, he uses his jab, and he has a good one too. And but other than that, you know, I was able to make my way in. You know, I was able to do what I do. But like I said, it's not really me really impressed with him. You know, I know he's a good fighter. So, you know, that's when I get in there with a good fighter, I basically go to the next level myself, because I don't treat the sparring sessions like sparring sessions. I treat them like real fights, you know what I mean? And anything could happen at any given moment. So I have to be extremely ready for whatever moment it is.
The details from that camp are brutal. Benz allegedly beat Bivol so badly that he actually dropped him, while Bivol was wearing headgear and oversized sparring gloves designed to prevent serious damage. If Benz could put him on the canvas with that protective gear, imagine what could happen with 10-ounce fight gloves on fight night. This is the narrative Ben's team is pushing. Bivol knows exactly what could happen in the ring and is doing everything possible to make sure the world never sees it live.
Spar, it's very different than a fight. I have a lot of sparrings when I wasn't good, when I was good. I'm not seeing on the sparrings it's like on the fight. I'm checking, I'm just trying to do something, you know. I just have some mission for one sparring and I try to do it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But with Benavidez it was good sparrings. I can't say that something was...
The Russian Canelo seemingly out of the picture, Benz isn't turning to Beterbiev. After Beterbiev's loss to Bivol earlier in 2025, Ben's team has taken a ruthless stance. They aren't interested in scraps, only the crown. His promoter bluntly stated that Beterbiev now brings nothing to the table but a paycheck. Confident and assertive, Ben believes he would stop Beterbiev and sees fighting someone coming off a loss as a step backward. It's a power move, signaling to the division that he's the main attraction, calling the shots, and carving his own lane while leaving the old guard behind.
Obviously, you would be Bivol, but Beterbiev, that's a Mexican monster versus a Russian monster. That's two guys that I know you've had to visualize that fight, Beterbiev. Yeah. I mean, what you think about that?
That's a crazy fight. You know what I mean? That's the biggest. All these guys, they're big risk. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, what is life if there's no risk? What would life be if everything is just easy and handed to you? You know, this is what makes the sport of boxing so great, that you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? The only thing that is guaranteed is how hard you work for that training camp and how much you're willing to put in and sacrifice in the ring. Yeah. And that's what makes the sport exciting. You know what I mean? And that's what makes me, because I've showed everybody that I'm willing to leave it all out on the line every single night. Every performance has been better than the last one. So that's what's guaranteed about me. Every time I get in there with a fighter that's good, you know, a better version of me.
Adding to the drama is Dmitry Bivol's current status. He's sidelined with back surgery, wiping out the second half of his 2025 schedule. While injuries are part of the sport, the timing has only fueled skepticism from Ben's camp. Matchroom Boxing's Eddie Hearn has indicated that Bivol likely won't return until the first quarter of 2026, leaving questions about when or if this showdown will happen.
The first fight back may be a smaller fight. You know, maybe one of his mandatory defenses. He's got quite a few of them. I mean, one is Callum Smith, one is Michael Effort. You know, WBA I think have a mandatory as well. He would have been out of the ring. He won't fight before March. So he would have been out of the ring for a year and would have had a couple of operations, one to his back, which was quite a serious operation. So the good thing about when I met Dmitry pre-operation, he was quite, not down in the dumps, but he was, you know, the injuries were kind of getting on top of him. And you know, when we were talking about his future, he was kind of saying, you know, I just want big fights. I just want the big fights. And now he's had the operation, he's recovered, he's excited to fight again. I think he's, you know, he feels like he has a much longer future than maybe he did when he was feeling like shit with his injuries. So right now, you know, he's more motivated to actually get back in the ring and get some momentum again. I think Beterbiev, Benavidez, all these guys, they're absolute 100% must make fights. It's just whether he has that one fight when he returns before a big...
For a hungry and active fighter like Ben's, Bivol's absence feels like another delay tactic, a familiar pattern he faced at 168 pounds. Wait for the champion to heal, take a tune-up, and decide when he's ready. Ben's has officially run out of patience. While the WBA has guaranteed him mandatory challenger status for the next winner, guarantees don't pay the bills or build legacies. Ben sees Bivol's absence not just as medical recovery, but as a convenient way to avoid the pressure of having the Mexican monster breathing down his neck.
confident about his chances against Bivol. I think the confidence comes from the sparring that he did with Bivol a few years back, and knowing how well he did against Bivol. I know like sparring's differently from like a real fight, but you still carry like confidence from those sparrings, right?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know. I think he'd do well. I just don't think that he wouldn't do to Bivol what he done to Morel. I think Bivol will be doing that to him. But he should be confident. He fought a great fight. I had a guy spar with Bivol maybe when Bivol had maybe 15, 16 fights down in LA, Manny Robles' gym. I won't mention who it was, but we handled Bivol. And I thought, man, my guy just handled Bivol. They went 4 rounds. And then Bivol's next fight, he looks like a totally different guy. I mean, he looked like $1 million in the fight, and he looked like 20 cents when he sparred my guy. You know, maybe it was my guy doing that to him, but sparring is sparring. You know, maybe he was working on things. Maybe he was preparing. Maybe his coaches have, just like I do, his coach was having him do particular things that that you have to improve on, and the other guy's having a great time, and it's great sparring for him, but he's working on things, you know, so it could have been that. My guy looked great against him, and like I said, in the next time I saw Bivol, I said, damn, this guy's pretty damn good. So sparring in the fight.
When the champions in his division are injured, recovering, or vacating titles to avoid him, Benz has decided to move up. After his stoppage win against Anthony Yard, he announced a massive career pivot, a May 2nd showdown in the cruiserweight division against WBA and WBO champion Gilberto Zordo Ramirez. With 24 of his 27 wins coming by KO and fighting out of London, England, Ramirez is a formidable challenge, but Benz is ready to make his mark in a new weight class.